Near the end of the next Mass Effect teaser trailer, 3 characters are briefly shown in the background with Liara in the foreground. The biggest question, who the heck are these guys? And the second biggest question, why are they seemingly traveling with Liara to recover Shepard? I think that all 3 of these guys are from Mass Effect Andromeda, but I'll be answering the second question at the end of the video. This discussion is definitely emergency induction port drink material. So if you have yours, let's dive into it. First off, let's examine the Salarian. The general color of this suit appears to be reddish. The biggest clue as to who they are, though, is their size. Most Salarians that we know of are generally about human size, but I think that this character in the middle is approximately human sized, so the Salarian is larger by about half a head. So who wears somewhat reddish clothing and is larger than most Salarians? Callow, the Tempest pilot from Mass Effect Andromeda. From this scene, we can see that Callow is half a head larger than Ryder, and wears a distinctive reddish outfit. If he had to go on a ground mission, I'm sure he would wear similar colors. Most Salarians in Andromeda got a height increase compared to the Trilogy Salarians, so if it isn't Callow, it could technically be any random Salarian, but I am leaning towards Callow for now. And as the Tempest pilot, he probably also piloted the Mudskipper's descent to Alkera. Moving on to the character in the middle, who is the most ambiguous in terms of species out of the 3. The suit they're wearing seems very reflective, particularly the helmet, and the coloring seems to be on the redder side, similar to the Salarian. It's pretty hard to place the character's species and gender, but I think that's the point. Who would BioWare want to keep gender neutral? Pathfinder Ryder, the main protagonist in Mass Effect Andromeda. In particular, the reflective nature of their helmet is very close to the Pathfinder helmet. The main clue for this being Ryder, though, the posture of their arms and legs. Both Ryders in neutral stances usually have their shoulders back, causing their arms to hang in a very distinctive way. And they have a strong stance with their legs as well, as evidenced here. Also, the casual way they turn towards the Salarian, who I assume is Callow, would make sense, since they are both crewmates on the Tempest. Let's move on to the last companion, before diving into the connection between the crew and Liara. The Krogan character is the hardest to pinpoint in my opinion. Nothing in their posture gives anything away, and their suit is devoid of any color. With that being said, the only clues I have for who the Krogan could be are the other 2 companions. And since both are, I assume, from the Tempest crew, I naturally think that the Krogan would be as well, which only leaves Drac as the final companion in Mass Effect Andromeda. Drac's suit is generally neutral, with yellow, brown, and gray being the primary colors. So this being Drac isn't that far of a stretch. The general height of Drac compared to what I assume is Ryder also matches, based on interactions between Drac and Ryder. The one thing I will note is that Drac usually has bent joints in his legs, but in a few instances he does straighten up to his full height, so it could be a small discrepancy. So why is the Tempest crew helping Liara recover Shepard? The Mass Effect team has already established that Liara and Alec Ryder, who is Scott and Sarah Ryder's father, knew each other from the logs in Alec Ryder's office.
As a reminder about Dr. Liara Tassoni. She's an Asari archaeologist I corresponded with a few years back. She's got experience studying ancient cultures. Make sure the team gets her research. Could be useful in Andromeda.
It wouldn't be much of a stretch for Liara to contact Scott or Sarah Ryder for help in recovering Shepard. Also, if you play as Sarah Ryder, she admits to Sam that she used to dig up artifacts and debate Liara's work.
Liara Tassoni, huh? She studied the Protheans. When my team used to dig up artifacts, we'd debate her work. She had some pretty controversial theories, as I recall. Never gained much traction.
And to young Pathfinder Ryder, Shepard is basically an old artifact at this point, so helping Liara dig them up is not that much different. So there's definitely potential for Ryder to meet up with Liara, and by extension, Ryder's crew. But we haven't addressed the elephant in the room. How the is the Tempest crew even in the Milky Way? Liara supposedly has a full crew of characters that are approximately 2.5 million light years away from the Milky Way. And since this planet is probably Alkera, the Tempest crewmates somehow found a way back to our galaxy. BioWare, what the actual In my past videos, I've established a couple of things. Andromeda is going to play a part in the next Mass Effect, and the date for the next game is probably going to be a few years after Mass Effect 3. Go check out those 2 videos for a more in-depth analysis on both of those 2 points. Links in the description below. Having the Andromeda crew in the next Mass Effect, and having the game set in 2190 is a major contradiction in and of itself. I get it. The Tempest crew took off for the Andromeda Initiative in 2185, so in 2190, they would only be a couple of light years away in cryosleep. However, I think that the key to this all making sense is the fact that the Andromeda crew is in cryosleep. but it's going to take a very long time to explain, so I'm going to have to leave that explanation for a future video. Otherwise, who do you guys think these 3 characters are? Do we know them? Do you think they're from the Andromeda crew? Comment down below and we can continue the discussion there. And if you're craving more Mass Effect 5 content, I know you'll enjoy my analysis for why time travel to the past does not make sense for Shepard's return, so go check that one out next. Until then, I'm Atharia, and this is my favorite franchise on the Citadel.
Logging you out, Shepard.